Welcome to Coins News Daily. What if that one penny in your pocket is secretly worth thousands of dollars? The rare could turn your spare change into a life-changing jackpot. Are you sitting on a hidden treasure? Watch till the end to find out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thanks with love for watching. Top 1. Today we are diving into a fascinating story that many coin lovers and collectors dream about. A simple 1-cent coin that could quietly sit in your pocket, yet hold surprising value and history. Stay with me closely, because what you're about to hear might completely change the way you look at everyday coins. Imagine this. You're going through loose change, maybe after buying something small, and suddenly you notice a 1987 penny with a small D mint mark. At first glance, it looks ordinary. Copper color, Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait. Nothing unusual, or is there more hidden beneath its surface? The 1987 D Lincoln 1-cent coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the major coin production facilities in the United States. During that year, millions upon millions of pennies were produced, making this coin seem extremely common. And yes, most of them are still only worth 1 cent today. But here's where things get interesting. Not all coins are created equal. Even if they share the same year and mint mark, collectors know that rarity doesn't always come from low mintage alone. Sometimes, it comes from tiny mistakes, subtle variations, and minting errors that slip through quality control. These are the coins that transform from everyday pocket change into something collectors hunt for with passion. Let's talk about what makes certain 1987 D pennies special. First, condition plays a huge role. A coin that has never been used in circulation, known as mint state, can already be worth more than face value. If it has sharp details, strong luster, and no visible wear, collectors consider it far more desirable, but condition alone isn't what makes this coin truly exciting. The real thrill comes from error coins. These are coins that were struck incorrectly during the minting process. For the 1987 D penny, several types of errors have been discovered over time. One of the most talked about errors is the double die variety. This happens when the coin design is accidentally engraved twice at slightly different angles, creating a doubling effect. If you look closely at the date or the lettering, you might notice a shadow-like duplication. To an untrained eye, it might seem like a small flaw, but to collectors, it's a treasure. Another rare and valuable error is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank is not properly aligned during striking. The result is a coin where part of the design is missing, shifted, or uneven. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more valuable the coin can become. There are also clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a mistake in the cutting process. These coins have a unique shape that immediately stands out. Again, something that might look damaged to most people is actually highly collectible. And then we have transitional composition interest. While by 1987 most pennies were made of zinc with a copper coating, collectors always stay alert for unusual metal compositions. If a coin somehow ended up being struck on the wrong planchet, its value could skyrocket. Now imagine finding one of these rare variations in your own collection. It's like uncovering a hidden piece of history. Every scratch, every detail tells a story about the minting process and the journey that coin has taken over decades. Collectors are not just buying metal. They are buying uniqueness, history, and the excitement of owning something few others have. That's why even a small penny can capture so much attention. Another factor that adds to the charm of the 1987 D penny is its connection to the long-running Lincoln cent series. Since 1909, Lincoln pennies have been a symbol of American coinage, and each year carries its own subtle differences. For collectors, completing a set or finding rare variations becomes a lifelong passion. If you are a beginner, here's something important. Always examine your coins carefully. Use a magnifying glass, good lighting, and patience. Look for anything unusual. Doubling, misalignment, strange textures, or differences in color. Sometimes the smallest detail can mean the biggest difference in value. Also, proper storage matters. If you believe you have a valuable coin, keep it safe. Avoid touching it directly with your fingers, as oils can damage the surface. Use protective holders or coin flips to preserve its condition. now let's talk about the reality that everyone is waiting for. How much is this coin actually worth? A regular 1987 D Lincoln penny in circulated condition is typically worth its face value, 1 cent. In uncirculated mint state condition, it can be worth around a few cents to a couple of dollars depending on its grade. However, coins with notable errors or exceptional condition can be worth significantly more. Double die examples and strong error coins have been sold in the market for prices ranging from a few $100s to several $1,000s depending on rarity and condition. In rare auction appearances, high-grade error examples of the 1987 D Lincoln penny have reached values of several $1,000s, with exceptional pieces approaching or exceeding $10,000 in competitive bidding environments. So next time you see a simple penny, don't ignore it. Take a closer look. Because hidden within ordinary change could be an extraordinary discovery waiting just for you. Top 2. We're diving into a coin that almost everyone has seen, touched, or ignored in their daily life, yet very few truly understand its hidden story, its subtle details, and the surprising value it can carry. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might start looking at your pocket change in a completely different way. We are talking about the 1997 D Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin that at first glance looks completely ordinary. It's small, copper-colored, and often overlooked. But behind that simple appearance lies a world of collecting, history, minting secrets, and in some cases, real monetary value that can surprise even experienced collectors. Let's slow down and really look at this coin together. The obverse features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design that has been part of American coinage since 1909. His calm, thoughtful expression is something collectors have admired for generations. Above his head, you'll see the word Liberty, and to the right, the date 1997. Just beneath the date sits a tiny but important detail, the D Mint mark. That small letter tells us this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. And while millions upon millions of these coins were produced there in 1997, not all of them are created equal. That's where things start to get interesting. On the reverse, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, a design that was used from 1959 until 2008. If you look very closely, you can even see a tiny depiction of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial. That level of detail in such a small coin is one of the reasons collectors love the Lincoln Cent series so much. Now you might be wondering, if so many of these coins were made, how could any of them be valuable? The answer lies in condition, rarity within condition, and most importantly, mint errors. Let's talk about condition first. Most 1997 D pennies you find in circulation are heavily worn. They've passed through countless hands, machines, and years of use. These are typically worth only face value. But when you find one in uncirculated condition, meaning it has never been used in daily transactions, the story changes. Coins that retain their original mint luster, with sharp details and no visible wear, are graded much higher by collectors. The higher the grade, the more desirable the coin becomes, but condition alone is only part of the equation. Now we move into the exciting part, errors and varieties. Mint errors are like accidents during the coin production process, and these accidents can turn an ordinary coin into something highly collectible. For the 1997 D Lincoln Cent, there are a few types of errors that collectors watch for very carefully. Point 1 of the most talked about errors is the double die effect. This happens when the coin die is engraved more than once slightly off alignment, creating a noticeable doubling in the design. You might see this doubling in the letters of Liberty, the date, or even parts of Lincoln's face. Not all doubling is valuable, but strong, clear doubling can significantly increase a coin's worth. Another error to look for is off-center strikes. This occurs when the coin blank is not properly aligned during striking, resulting in part of the design missing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, while still showing the date and mint mark, the more valuable the coin tends to be. Then there are die cracks and cuds. These happen when the coin die begins to break down after repeated use. You might notice raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface. While some of these are minor and common, more dramatic examples can attract collector interest. There are also coins with broad strike errors, where the coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing it to spread out and appear larger than normal. These are unusual and can be quite collectible, and let's not forget about planchet errors. These occur before the coin is even struck. Sometimes the metal blank itself has defects, such as clips or improper composition. Finding one of these in a 1997 cent can be a real treasure. Now imagine this. You're going through a jar of old coins at home, something most people would never think twice about. Suddenly, you notice a penny that looks just a little different. Maybe the lettering seems doubled, or the coin isn't perfectly centered. That moment of curiosity could lead to discovering something special. This is exactly what makes coin collecting so addictive and fascinating. It's not just about money. It's about the hunt, the history, and the possibility that something extraordinary is hiding in plain sight. Collectors often use magnifying glasses or microscopes to examine coins closely. Even the smallest detail can make a huge difference. Lighting, angle, and patience all play a role in identifying valuable features. Now let's talk about grading, because this is where value becomes more precise. Professional grading services evaluate coins based on strict standards. A coin graded at a very high level, with minimal imperfections and strong eye appeal, can command much higher prices than an average example. For the 1997 Lincoln cent, finding one in top condition is not easy, and that scarcity in high grades drives demand. So what is this coin actually worth? In circulated condition, most 1997 Lincoln cents are worth 1 cent. In uncirculated condition, they can be worth a few cents to a few dollars depending on quality. However, coins with strong mint errors or those graded at the highest levels have sold for significantly more. High-grade examples have reached values of several $100s at auction. Exceptional error coins, depending on the type and visibility of the error, can range from tens to hundreds of dollars, and in rare standout cases, even higher. So the next time you come across a simple penny, don't be too quick to dismiss it. Take a closer look. Check the date. Look for that tiny D mint mark. Examine the details carefully, because sometimes, the smallest coins carry the biggest surprises. And if you enjoy discovering hidden value, learning about rare coins, and exploring the fascinating world of numismatics, make sure you stay tuned. There's always another coin, another story, and maybe even another treasure waiting to be found. Top 3. We are diving into something that looks ordinary at first glance but can quietly hold surprising value, a small piece of metal that passes through countless hands without a second thought, yet in rare situations can become a collector's hidden treasure. We are talking about the 1999 Lincoln 1 cent coin with no mint mark, a coin that many people may already have seen, used, or even ignored, but few truly understand. Imagine this for a moment. You are going through loose change, maybe coins sitting in a jar, a drawer, or even your wallet. Among them sits a simple 1999 penny. Nothing flashy, nothing unusual at first glance. But what if that coin is more than just 1 cent? What if it carries a story, a rarity, or a hidden detail that could make collectors stop and pay attention? That is exactly what makes this coin so fascinating. The 1999 Lincoln penny belongs to a long and iconic series of coins that feature Abraham Lincoln, a design that has been part of American coinage for over a century. These coins are extremely common in general circulation, which is why most people assume they hold no value beyond 1 cent. But as every serious collector knows, rarity is not always about age. Sometimes, it is about small differences, tiny errors, or unique production details that transform an ordinary coin into something special. Now let's talk about the no mint mark detail. When a coin does not have a mint mark, it typically means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. For many years, Philadelphia coins did not carry a mint mark at all, which makes them seem less special at first. However, when we look deeper into the 1999 Lincoln cent, things begin to get interesting. In 1999, billions of pennies were minted. That sounds like an overwhelming number, and it is. But within such large production, mistakes and variations can happen. These variations are what collectors are always searching for. The key here is not just the absence of a mint mark, but the possibility of errors, condition, and subtle differences that can dramatically increase value. One of the most important factors is condition. A 1999 Lincoln cent with no mint mark in circulated condition is usually only worth its face value. But when you find one in uncirculated condition, especially with a bright red color and no signs of wear, the value can begin to increase. Collectors pay close attention to grading, and coins graded at the highest levels can command much higher prices, but condition alone is not the full story. The real excitement comes from error coins. In 1999, there are known varieties and minting errors that collectors actively hunt for. These include off-center strikes, double die errors, and coins with unusual surface features. A double die error, for example, occurs when the design is struck more than once in slightly different positions, creating a visible doubling effect on letters or numbers. When such an error appears clearly on a 1999 penny, it can transform a common coin into a collectible piece. Another interesting factor is die wear and die cracks. Over time, the dies used to strike coins begin to wear down. This can lead to small cracks or raised lines appearing on the coin's surface. While minor die wear is common and not very valuable, more dramatic die cracks or unusual patterns can catch the attention of collectors. There are also cases where coins are struck on the wrong planchet. This is rare, but when it happens, it creates a coin that stands out immediately. Imagine a 1999 Lincoln design appearing on a blank meant for a different denomination. These types of errors are extremely collectible and can be worth significant amounts. Now let's talk about why collectors are so drawn to coins like this. It is not just about money. It is about the thrill of discovery. Anyone can find a 1999 penny, but not everyone will notice the details that make one coin different from another. That moment of realizing you might be holding something rare is what keeps collectors searching. There is also a historical connection. Every coin tells a story about the time it was made. The 1999 Lincoln cent represents the end of a century, a period of modern minting technology, and a continuation of one of the most recognized coin designs in the world. Holding such a coin is like holding a small piece of history. For those who are serious about collecting, examining your coins carefully is essential. Look closely at the date, the lettering, and the overall surface. Use good lighting and, if possible, a magnifying glass. Pay attention to anything that looks unusual. Even the smallest detail can make a difference. It is also important to understand that not every 1999 penny will be valuable. In fact, most are still just worth 1 cent. But the possibility that one could be worth more is what makes the search exciting. It turns everyday pocket change into a potential treasure hunt. If you are wondering about the actual value, it depends entirely on the coin's condition and whether it has any rare errors. A typical 1999 Lincoln 1 cent with no mint mark in average condition is worth 1 cent. In uncirculated condition, it can be worth a few cents to a few dollars depending on its quality. Coins with strong visual appeal and high grades can reach values in the range of $10 to $50. Error coins, especially those with clear doubling or major striking mistakes, can sell for hundreds of dollars. In rare cases, high-grade examples with significant errors have reached auction values of several hundred to over $1,000. So the next time you come across a 1999 penny, do not ignore it. Take a closer look. That small coin might just hold more value than you expect, and even if it does not, the process of searching and discovering is an experience that every collector enjoys. Keep checking your coins, stay curious, and who knows, your next great find might already be in your pocket. Top 4. We are diving into a fascinating story that proves even the smallest coin in your pocket could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Imagine holding a simple 1 cent coin, something most people ignore or spend without a second thought, yet hidden within that copper surface could be a rare treasure collectors are willing to chase for years. This is the story of the 2000 Lincoln 1 cent coin, a coin that at first glance looks completely ordinary, but in certain cases becomes one of the most intriguing modern collectibles in the world of coin collecting. Now picture this. It's the year 2000, a time when the world was entering a new millennium. Billions of pennies were minted across the United States, and among them were coins struck at the Denver Mint, identified by the small d mint mark just below the date. These coins flooded into circulation, ending up in jars, pockets, and cash registers everywhere. Most of them still exist today, quietly sitting unnoticed. But among those millions, a few rare examples stand out because of unique errors, exceptional condition, and subtle details that only sharp-eyed collectors can identify. Let's talk about what makes the 2000 Lincoln penny special. First, the design itself carries history. On the front, you see Abraham Lincoln, a design that has been part of American coinage for generations. On the reverse, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, symbolizing stability and legacy. While the design remained consistent, the minting process sometimes created unexpected variations, and that is where the excitement begins. Point one of the most sought-after aspects of this coin is mint error varieties. These errors happen during the production process and instantly turn an ordinary coin into a rare collectible. For the 2000 penny, collectors have discovered examples with off-center strikes, where the design is not perfectly aligned. Some coins show double die errors, where parts of the lettering or numbers appear slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during the striking process. These doubled features can be subtle, requiring magnification, but once identified, they dramatically increase the coin's desirability. Another fascinating error type is die cracks and die breaks. These occur when the die used to strike the coin develops tiny fractures. Coins produced with these damaged dies show raised lines or unusual shapes on their surface. While some collectors may overlook these as flaws, experienced coin enthusiasts recognize them as unique signatures of the minting process, making each piece one of a kind. Then there are coins struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a penny accidentally struck on a blank meant for another denomination. These are extremely rare and highly valuable because they represent a significant minting mistake. Even within the 2000 series, a coin like this can become the centerpiece of a collection. Condition is another crucial factor. Most 2000 pennies have been circulated for years, accumulating scratches, wear, and discoloration. However, coins that remain in mint state condition, meaning they show no signs of circulation, are far more valuable. These coins often have a bright red luster, smooth surfaces, and sharp details. Collectors refer to these as red uncirculated coins, and they are always in demand. Now imagine combining both rarity and condition. A coin with a clear mint error and preserved in near-perfect condition becomes incredibly desirable. These are the coins that collectors compete for, often leading to surprising auction results. What makes this even more exciting is that many people still find these coins in everyday change. Yes, it sounds unbelievable, but stories continue to emerge of collectors discovering rare varieties in rolls of pennies or old jars. That sense of treasure hunting keeps the hobby alive and thrilling. If you are a collector or someone just getting started, it's important to carefully examine your coins. Look closely at the date and mint mark. Use a magnifying glass to inspect the lettering and numbers. Pay attention to anything unusual, such as doubling, misalignment, or unexpected markings. Even the smallest detail can make a big difference. Storage also plays a role in preserving value. Coins should be kept in a clean, dry environment, preferably in protective holders. Avoid touching the surface directly, as oils from your fingers can damage the coin over time. Proper care ensures that if you do find a rare piece, it retains its maximum value. The 2000 Lincoln penny reminds us that rarity doesn't always come from age alone. Even modern coins can become valuable if they possess unique characteristics. This challenges the common belief that only ancient or very old coins are worth collecting. Collectors are drawn to these coins not just for their value, but for the stories they tell. Each error, each variation, is a glimpse into the minting process and the human element behind it. It's a reminder that even in a highly controlled environment like a mint, small imperfections can create something extraordinary. And now, the part you've been waiting for. Let's talk about value. A standard 2000 Lincoln penny in circulated condition is worth 1 cent. In uncirculated condition with strong red luster, it can be worth a few dollars. Coins with minor errors may reach values of $10 to $50 depending on visibility and demand. Strong double die errors or significant off-center strikes can sell for $100 to $500. Exceptional examples with rare error combinations and high-grade condition have reached auction values of $1,000 to $3,000, and in extremely rare cases with unique characteristics, even higher offers have been recorded in private sales. So next time you see a simple penny, don't ignore it. Take a closer look, because hidden within your everyday change could be a rare piece of history waiting to be discovered. Top 5. We are diving into something that might already be sitting quietly in your pocket, your drawer, or an old coin jar without you even realizing its hidden potential. Imagine holding a simple 1-cent coin, something most people overlook every single day, and discovering that it could actually be worth far more than its face value. Not just a little more, but in some rare cases, hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition, errors, and collector demand. Stay with me, because this story is not just about a coin, it is about a hidden treasure that many people missed. We are talking about the 2002 Lincoln 1-cent coin. At first glance, it looks completely ordinary. It carries the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design that has been part of American history for generations. On the reverse, depending on the version, you will see the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol recognized across the world. The small letter D just beside the date represents the Denver Mint, where this coin was produced. Now here is where things start to get interesting. Millions of these coins were minted in 2002 at the Denver facility, so you might think there is nothing rare about it. And you would be right, but only partially. Because in the world of coin collecting, rarity is not always about how many coins were made. It is about how many survive in perfect condition and how many carry unique errors that make them stand out from the rest. Let's talk about condition first, because this is one of the most important factors. A regular 2002 penny that has been circulated, scratched, worn, and passed through countless hands is usually worth just 1 cent. But when you find one in uncirculated condition, meaning it has never been used in daily transactions and still holds its original shine, the value begins to rise. Collectors look for coins with strong details, clean surfaces, and bright luster. These are graded on a scale, and the higher the grade, the higher the potential value, but condition alone is not what creates excitement. The real thrill comes from mint errors. Errors are mistakes that happen during the coin production process, and these mistakes can turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. One of the most talked about possibilities for the 2002 Lincoln cent is the presence of die errors. These include double dies, where parts of the design appear slightly duplicated due to misalignment during striking. If you look closely at the lettering or Lincoln's features and notice doubling, you might be holding something very special. Another fascinating error is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned during minting, resulting in part of the design missing. Coins with a clear off-center strike are highly collectible because they are visually dramatic and undeniably unique. There are also die cracks and cuds, which appear as raised lines or blobs of metal caused by damaged dies. While some might see these as imperfections, collectors often see them as character, each one telling a story of the minting process. Then there is the possibility of wrong planchet errors. Although extremely rare, sometimes a coin is struck on a blank intended for a different denomination. If a 2002 penny were found on such a planchet, its value would skyrocket instantly. Now imagine this scenario. You are going through a jar of old coins, maybe something you have ignored for years. You pick up a 2002 penny and notice it looks unusually sharp, almost flawless. You examine it under light and see a slight doubling in the letters. Your curiosity grows. You decide to have it graded, and suddenly that 1-cent coin transforms into something collectors are eager to own. This is why coin collecting is not just a hobby, it is a treasure hunt. Every coin has a story, and sometimes that story includes an unexpected twist of rarity and value. Collectors around the world are constantly searching for coins like these, not just for their monetary worth but for the excitement of discovery. The 2002 Lincoln cent represents a perfect example of how something common can become uncommon under the right circumstances. Now let's talk about real market value, the part everyone is waiting for. A regular circulated 2002 Lincoln penny is worth 1 cent. An uncirculated example in high grade can range from a few cents to several dollars depending on quality. But when you move into professionally graded coins with near-perfect condition, the value can rise to around $50 to $100. If the coin has a strong mint error such as doubling or a noticeable off-center strike, the value can increase significantly, reaching from $200 to over $1,000 depending on the severity and appeal of the error. In extremely rare cases, with exceptional condition and a dramatic error, auction results have shown values climbing into the range of several $1,000s. So the next time you come across a simple penny, do not ignore it. Take a closer look. Because hidden in plain sight could be a small piece of copper that carries far more than just 1 cent of value. It could be a collector's dream, a conversation piece, and maybe even your unexpected lucky find.